I thought this week is about giving your all. In 1 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 24, Paul says this. He says, the need for self-discipline. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way to get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Therefore, I do not run like someone running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize. What are you aiming for this year? Paul talks there about if you want to run, you've got to train yourself to run. There used to be a member of staff at St Wilfrid's who would train really hard to get under the 40-minute mark for a 10-kilometre race. He was trying his best. He'd set his watch so he knew exactly what it was. And I ran a race with him and he came in at 40 minutes and 1 second. He'd just miss out on the prize and the reward that he'd set for himself. Now, I love the determination of this member of staff that he's gone on, and I've heard he's running sub 36-minute 10Ks now. Why? Because he's determined and he's putting the effort in. Paul's talking here about what can you do with your life that will last forever. In that chapter just before, Paul talks about doing whatever it takes. And my challenge for you this week is this: what do you want to achieve, and are you prepared to do whatever it takes? Paul says this. Paul had come to the conclusion he had freedom in Christ. Jesus had forgiven him, and there's anything that he could do. But this is how he chose to use his freedom. He says, though I am free and belong to no one, I've made myself a slave to everyone to win as many as possible. The prize Paul was going for was people to be freed from their sins, freed from the things they'd done wrong. He was a Jew, and the Jews were under this condemnation that the Messiah hadn't come yet, so they still had to live under the law. And Paul had come to the idea that actually Jesus had freed us from the law. To the Jews, I became like a Jew to win the Jews. To those under the law, I became like one under the law, though I myself am not under the law, so as to win those under the law. To those not having the law, I became like one not having the law, though I am not free from God's law, but am under Christ's law, so as to win not those not having the law. To the weak, I became weak to win the weak. I have become all things to all people, so that by all possible means I might save some. I do this for the sake of the gospel, that I may share in its blessings. The gospel was good news. The good news that Jesus saves. That's what Paul's mission was. Paul's mission was to tell as many people about Jesus. What's your mission? What's your reason for living? If it's to run fast, I encourage you to do it with all your might. Train as if you want to win. Whatever it is, give it your all.